Now, one of the best features in Reaper is how much we can customize it. And part of that is we can customize our menus. So go up here, see our menus. Everything in here could be totally customized and changed for the way you prefer to work. So let's take a look at how to do that. If we go up here to the Actions menu, Show Action List, and type into the filter Menu. And there's an option right here to customize our menus. Double-click it. That opens up this window. And right over here is where we choose which menu we're going to customize. Our File menu, Edit, and so on. Let's start off with the File menu. Now if we go over here to the File menu and go down here, this is where we render our projects. So if we choose it, it opens up this render window where we could choose how we want to render our mix. But sometimes we don't want to open up that dialog. We just want to render our mix using the previous settings. So we could add that option to this menu. Let's scroll down to where render is in this menu, and let's add another action. Type in the filter, render, and there's another option right here to render the project using the most recent settings. So it won't open up the dialog, it'll just start rendering right away. So let's add this to our menu by hitting select. Let's also add this option up here, which is going to create a dry run of our mix. Select and close this. Now they both show up over here. Put this up here. Let's rename these options. We can right click, rename it, render project, no dialog, and this one is our dry run. So now these two options are going to show up in the menu. If we choose apply, go up here to the file menu, and now we can choose the render or render project with no dialog. And that starts to render automatically without opening the dialog. Or we can just create a dry run right here. And that creates a dry run showing us all the stats for the mix. So these options are now added to the menu. But if they take up too much room, we can make them a submenu. Just add a submenu, name it render, put it up here with this part under here, and now hit apply, and our menu looks like this, with a submenu for rendering, a normal render, render project, no dialog, and the dry run, which makes the menu a bit shorter as we created a submenu for these options. Now at any point, if you delete an option and you want to get the default one back, that's what this section is for. Let's say we deleted the new project option. We could drag it back from here to get it back. Or if you want to reset the whole menu back to the default, just go over here to reset and reset current menu to default. And that puts it all back the way it was by default. Let's try some other menus. If we go to the options menu, which is the one over here, notice if we want to create lanes for our tracks, we have to go to the submenu and add the lanes over here. If we want to do this quicker and put this over here in the menu, we could do that by dragging this up to here. Let's do it with this one. Let's add a separator to separate the lanes. Hit apply. Now if we go to the menu, we can add our lanes right from here. But we don't have to go to the submenu over here. It's right in the front part of the menu. Now if we go to the actions menu, notice there's not a lot of options in here. So I tend to put some custom actions or my favorite actions in here. So let's switch this to actions. Let's delete this option. Let's say I want to freeze and unfreeze my tracks from this menu. Hit add action, search freeze tracks, and we can choose to freeze our tracks to stereo right here. Let's select this and also select to unfreeze tracks and select and close it and put these options right here. And to make it clearer, we can rename these choices: freeze and unfreeze. Hit apply. Now if we select all these drum tracks, we can go up here to the actions menu and choose to freeze those tracks. And it freezes them. And if we want to unfreeze them, we could do it from the same menu right here. And notice, right down here, REAPER still shows us the default menu actions right over here, just in case we remove them and you want to see the default choices. But if you don't want this here, we can just turn it off right here. And now, if we go to a menu we adjusted, it doesn't show up. We just see the options we added. Now, besides the menus up here, we could also edit or customize our right-click menus, which is known as the contextual menus. So we could choose them for track control panel context here. And this is what happens if we right-click a track over here. This menu can also be customized. Or the media item context. This is what happens if we right-click an item. This menu here. And one of the things I do very often is I make a track or a media item mono. Like these overheads, I might right-click it, go to item settings, and choose take channel mode, mono, downmix. But as you can see, this is pretty deep in the menu. So if I do this quite often, I might want to customize that menu. And we could do that in here. Choose to add an action, type mono, and we could choose set take channel mode to mono or downmix. Select and close it. Now it shows up here. Let's rename it. And let's add a separator right here. I also do quite often is I lock my items and loop them. This is also deep in the item settings menu. So we put it up here. Now we could right click our items and they show up right here. So I could right click my overheads and just make the mono right here. Now it's mono. Or if I want to lock all the drums, select them all, right click, and lock them right here. Or unlock them, or loop them, or unloop them. And again, at any point, if you want to put this back, we could reset it right here. We could reset all the menus to the defaults, or just this one, the current one we're using. Hit OK. Now this menu is back to the default. So as you can see, every menu in REAPER, whether it's up here, or right-clicking over here, or here, could all be customized for your own personal workflow, as customizing is one of the most powerful features in REAPER. So that's pretty much it. That's customizing the menus in REAPER. I hope you learned something, hope you could use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bingo, boys, let's go.